Joe.
Hello, everybody. Wayne, Ruby, and I are sitting here having just a good time chatting and talking about all kind of fun stuff. And I look up and there's zeros all the way across the timer. So I just figured it's time we better start. Anyway, good to have you with us today. I'm Doug at Wood Spun Round. It's been a good day. We've already changed the wood that we're going to use. We're going to do the same thing though. We're doing a plate. I want to go ahead. You've already met Wayne and Ruby. They are my sidekicks for the day. They're going to keep me straight or lead me astray. Maybe a little of both,
Probably lead you astray.
probably.
Hopefully.
This is a piece of hornbeam. I was going to do a piece of catalpa. Already had it on the lathe and everything was ready to go, and realized there was a one spot there was a crack that went all the way through, and on what was going to be the top there was three or four other cracks. Had a way to get around those, but the one that went all the way through, there's no way around it. So grabbed this piece of hornbeam. It was laying off on the side. I went over and trimmed it up. It's roughly 10 inches around, and it varies. I'll switch you over to the overhead view. You can see it varies. This was a half
Oh
log,
yeah.
and it's not even sitting on the. I've got it on a worm screw. It's not even sitting on it directly straight. But we're going to make it straight, so it's going to be okay. Be okay. I'm going to switch back over here to the end view, kind of close. Drop that down just a hair. And I'm going to get started while I'm going to guess Wayne's going to read off the chat list today.
Oh, that'll be unusual.
That's a,
Yeah,
that's a good guess. It's about time you took a turn.
I kind of thought Mark might be in. We could make him do it since he hadn't been here for a while.
Okay.
Okay, little brother, it's your turn.
Let's get going. Okay, obviously Doug and Ruby are here. I'm here, but I don't tend to, if I'm earworming, I don't tend to put anything in the chat. So, but I am here. We've got Gerard in. We've got Norman Greenwell in. Rob from Copper Owl. This is going to take a while. We've got Andy, door 60 in. Johnny Foster's in. Andy AGK is in. The Angry Woodturner, I can't remember his name. You want to stick your name in the chat, Angry, so I know who you are. Mike Evans is in.
He just sent me a message earlier
Uh,
today. We're going to do a sticker swap, and I've got his name, but just it slipped my mind. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Doug, do you mind if I make a suggestion?
Okay.
Since that's so far out of round and off center, do you want to bring the tailstock up?
Uh, it will be in my way.
Okay.
Yes, Norm. A lot of times that is the best idea. Um, but this is cutting. This cuts so quickly. It's going to be in my way about as quickly as I could bring that up.
Okay.
okay.
I just don't want to see anything happen to you.
No, no. We're turning slow. We're only
Right.
going 400 and almost 500 RPMs is all.
Can't remember if I mentioned Mike Evans now, but Mike's here.
Yeah.
Todd's here. Roger Woolham's here. Mick's in. Mick Hughes is in. Evening, Mick. Malcolm Douglas. Barry Chitty. Al's in. Evening, Al.
Yeah.
Roger Kent. Haley's here. Evening, Haley.
Hey, Haley.
No, I missed her.
Judy Carter. And no, Judy Carter's put in beside her name Roger Carter, so it's either Judy or Roger, one of the two.
Sounds
Paul
to me
Hoyton's
like
in.
he's using her iPad.
You think?
Could be.
Kind of like Jennifer and Babes?
I'm still going down, by the way. James Crawford's in. Vinnie Charlton, Tim Ponder, Deal, Old Man River. Carsten's in. Evening, Carsten. Lucy's in.
Sweet potato.
Hi, Lucy.
Good thing Andy's not here. He said nothing sweet about this. That's just not true.
Merci beaucoup, Gerard.
Right. The Angry Woodturner has said Angry is fine because there's already a Roger. So I'm taking it his name is Roger.
Roger, that's it. Yep.
Chris Walters is in.
Hey, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
And that's me down at the bottom.
All right. Good to have everybody in today.
And Martin Ford has just come in as well.
Hey, Martin. For you folks who just came in, this is a piece of hornbeam. We're going to try to get a platter out of it. If I can get everything out of my way. Like this live center in my tailstock. But I did have a cover over it, so it wasn't going to poke me in the elbow. Thank goodness.
And the Wivy Woodshed's just come in as well.
Hey, Wivy.
And Jennifer's in. Jennifer's Craft and Creations.
Jennifer.
Evening,
Hi, Jen.
I just took your name in vain, Jennifer. Not bad.
No, it wasn't bad.
Not at all.
Did we get Wivey Woodshed?
Yeah.
Yep, I said Wivey there. That's another Andy.
Just trying to get a flat area here so I can mark out for my recess. That may get me. That may get me. See what we got here. Nope, not quite. I still got big flat area right there. Big flat area.
Lucy says there's too many Andys. That must have been a popular name about the time they were born.
Must have been.
When I was a kid, a lot of people were named Bob or Linda or Susie.
Oh, Andrew AJK is back. He's internet crashed for a few minutes there.
Yeah, we're having really high winds and a storm here right now.
Oh, right.
Yesterday was summer. Today we're back to winter.
Yeah. We've got pretty nice sunshine today, but it's cool and it is windy. Our local farm supply had some, they sell bales of hay. We went to get some. Couldn't hardly, well, we weren't getting bales. They have a bunch that's loose where bales are busted or falls out of a bale when they're throwing it out of the truck. Anyway, we went up, took some bags, and were getting some, and couldn't hardly get it in the bag for the wind blowing it around.
All right.
I got a big scoop, was ready to put it in a bag, and the wind came up, blew every bit that was on my scoop out of it.
Now, what are you going to do with all that hay?
Well, some of it, we got 6 bags. 1 bag or 3 bags have already been spread in our chicken coop for the chickens. So they're not running around in the mud. And then the other 3 are going to be used in raised beds.
Now, Al has just put in there. I just said something to my grandson that made no sense and complete sense at the same time. I said, I want to watch some man on my telephone.
They're going to get off the flat. That's going to get off the flat. No, it's not.
You're going to make it that big?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to make the recess that big so that I don't have too awfully big of a foot on it. I want a large foot because this is a plate or a platter. So I want a pretty good size foot on it.
Now,
if I make,
Andy's asking why you needed the straw. Don't you have enough wood shavings for the chickens?
well, interesting thing. They're not supposed to get any walnut, and I've been turning a fair amount of walnut here lately. Or yes, I would have enough.
Yeah, if you turn walnut at all, you don't want it to go in your garden, and you don't want it to go around any of your animals, even
Right.
horses or cows.
Yeah. I have heard a time or two people say you shouldn't use cherry around animals either. I've had a couple people.
Has California not started a thing now where you can't use wood shavings for basically anything?
Probably.
I'm sure I saw that in a Facebook post yesterday.
I haven't seen that.
Because basically all wood shavings, the way California is saying it, is that all wood shavings are cancerous.
That's baloney.
Well, we are talking about California.
That's true. In that case, we're all in deep doo doo.
Yep.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm gonna die.
You know what? I guarantee that.
That's one thing I can guarantee as well, Ruby. You're exactly right. So far, I've talked to a lot of doctors.
Wayne, but we're going to be joining them.
Yeah.
Although not necessarily at the same date.
I've talked to a whole lot of doctors, and as far as any of them know, it's 100% death rate.
Yep.
Yes. I've decided I'm coming back as a wood turner.
Really?
Oh my.
Well, if you'd asked me 40 years ago, I'd have probably said I'd come back as a fellow instead of a girl. But today, girls can get into wood turning and things like this now that we couldn't when I was a kid. So I'll be happy just coming back as a female wood turner.
All right, we're just going to clean this up a little bit, kind of get it spiffed up and looking good. Let's see, turn it back down just a little.
So Carson has just said he took his cat to the vets today for the yearly checkup. She weighed him, looked at his teeth, felt him, listened with a stethoscope, etc. Looked at the chart and told me he's an 8 out of 10, which I thought sounded pretty good. Then she turned the paper around. It was titled Cat Obesity Scale.
Oh dear. Oops. Now Martin says that we're all in the queue, Doug, and he's doing his best not to push to the front. I think he's referring to the Disappearing Act.
Yes.
That's exactly right. Yeah, I'm not pushing to the front either. I know it's, my time is getting closer, but I'm not pushing my way forward.
No, I'm not either. I hope I live as long as my grandmother. She was
No,
102.
I was on shop duty yesterday in one of the shops where I've got some of my work, and this guy came in who was 73, and we're talking about wood turning and how he used to do wood turning many years ago, and he wanted to get back into it, and he actually turned around and said that he'd had a wonderful time talking to me, boy. Boy, I thought I was only 3 years younger than him.
There are some people. Oh, mercy. Yeah. Of course, now you guys haven't had the experience I had. My son was less than a year old, probably 2, 3 months old, in fact, and took my wife to a store, and he was not real happy about being out and about. And so I took him. I knew by the back door of the store that there were some benches. So I took him and we went to the benches and we sat down, and he was quieting down and doing fine as long as I was holding him. And this gentleman who wasn't a whole lot older than me comes by and he says, "Is this your first grandchild?" I said, "No, sir. This is my first child."
Well,
And he
that's
backed up on himself.
that's almost as bad as the first time I went up to see my husband in the nursing home. They all thought I was his daughter.
Oh my life. Now, Roger the Angry Wood Turner is asked, is this going to be a natural edge platter or just round?
Just round, just round. I thought about doing a natural edge, but no, we're going to do the round.
And
A little
Mike
speedier.
from Dances with the Aardvarks has just come in.
Hey,
Hi,
Mike.
Mike.
And TLF Works has just come in as well.
TLF, what's your first name, please?
Doug should know his first name. He's got a spanner.
TLF, that's Tim, isn't it?
Well, if it's Tim, hi, Tim.
And Fred Gillen has
Honestly, I
just come
don't
in as
remember.
well.
Hi, Fred.
God, he wormed for you last week when I was away.
Oh, yeah.
My
Oh,
your
I'm
memory's
sorry.
gone as well, Doug.
It is. Um, Troy's his brother, Tim. Yes, Tim. I'm sorry. Okay, just to show you what we got going on, the bottom is shaping up real nice. I'm down to a pretty much a razor's edge right here, but yeah, I've still got a pile. This is the end grain here. So here's the side grain. So that's determining where my upper edge is at this point, which is fine. I've got a lot of wood there, a lot of wood. I'm gonna go ahead and get some roundness to it. I cut it real quick on the bandsaw, so it's not round at this point. It's about to be.
Yeah, I guess we both sort of abandoned you last week.
Yeah.
Sorry
Yeah,
about
Everybody's
sorry about
traveling.
that.
Oh, that's okay. Everybody was traveling. And then I got done with the live last week and I traveled. So I could see my son do his talent show. And he won, by the way. Those of you who were here and wondering about
Yeah, I
that.
saw that. I did see that.
Yep,
He won, so he
congratulations.
got a nice check. Love those big oversized checks. That thing was massive. Not the real
And
check, but
Walt Wybrew has just come in.
Hi, Walt.
Evening, Walt.
okay, that was a knife edge on that side. I didn't realize I wasn't even to the edge on this side, so we're gonna lose a little bit of size. That's okay too. Walt, good to see you. I'm just trying to get my. I'm getting close. I'm getting close. Yeah, we hit it that time. Very good. Very good. Let's come back around to the bottom so we can finish shaping it up. Then we'll come around to get the top where we can work on it. Which also means I got to switch. So pink. Here we go.
Lucy says that apparently it's National German Beer Day today. All right. Cheers, everyone.
Yeah, cheers, everybody.
National German Beer Day. That's interesting.
I've got to say, some of my favourite beers are German.
When I was young, we used to laugh at the young American fellows that would come over to Canada to have a beer because our beer is significantly stronger than American beer.
All right, okay.
So where they used to drink 5 or 6 beers on their side, they come over here and find that 2 would do it.
Yeah. All right, just get this curves cleaned up a little bit.
Now, Mike says that International Beer Day is every day.
There you go.
And Walt
One of the beers, one of the beers I used to drink over in Germany when I was in the army was Herford Pils, and they used to come in a yellow box. With I can't remember how many bottles was in the box, but they used to come with a yellow box. Now I was in the Remy, and we used to fix things and do breakdowns and things like this, and we always got payment in what we used to call yellow handbags.
Now, Walt says that he doesn't come on often, but he always finds it entertaining learning.
Oh, thank you, Walt.
Walt's another one of those folks I follow as well that he turns interesting wood. More along the lines of what Phil Anderson does, very natural. I'll sand that out, but I need to make my mortise a little deeper. So if you fancy seeing things that are more natural, take a look at Walt and his channel. He does a lot of Walt. You may want to put it in the chat because I'm probably going to get it wrong. It's not stop action, but it's like strobe effect. So the wood almost looks like it's sitting still, but you can see the wood being chipped away. It's quite interesting. Quite interesting.
Now, Martin is saying that you do have some craft beers in the U.S. that are quite strong.
Absolutely. And I can only speak to that from past life. I haven't drank anything alcoholic content for, holy cow, 30 years, maybe a little longer. Okay, got that straightened out. We're going to put a couple little decorative lines here as per normal for me. And those are purely decoration, purely decoration.
You mean they're not to space out the size of your printing?
Well, they do that. They do that exactly. That's why I started it.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
My handwriting is so bad. And I signed the bottom of my heat. Go ahead, Wayne.
I've just put the link in for Walt's YouTube channel there.
Oh, great.
Alan Gibbs just come in as well.
Hi, Alan.
Alan.
I've got to say, another one of my favorite German beers is Warsteiner. That is a very nice beer. That is.
All right, just very quickly up to 240. Let's give it a little blow off and see what we got here. I was going to say, my handwriting is so bad, and I signed these with a vibrating engraver, so it makes it worse. Just a little bit of leftover from that, but I may come back and sand that, or I may not. So we're good there. Let's lock off the spindle. Take this off of the worm screw.
We've got a few people commenting since I put the link in that they've gone across and subbed. Thank you very much for doing that.
Yes, always like when we can promote somebody and get them some subs.
Mm-hmm.
It was done for me in those early days, and I really appreciated it. Which reminds me, we are at 1,100, just over 1,100 subs now. I had said I was going to do a giveaway when we hit 1,000. I never have announced that. Well, I kind of announced it, but I never did anything with it. But we're going to, starting today, not forward, reverse. Already had it in reverse, and I'm putting it forward.
Right. Well, we have got we've got 47, 48 people in at the moment, Doug.
All right, that's great. Oh, come on. I can't do two things at once. Give me half a second, get this changed out, and then I'll tell you about the giveaway. There we go. Now. That's the chuck I want right there. I'm changing chucks because it has these larger jaws on it, which is what I measured for my foot. So we're going to do a giveaway. And as soon as I tighten these jaws on here, I'll show you what we're going to give away. I had a bit of a play the other day. Let's see if I change the camera to that.
Well,
throw it on the floor, Doug.
So I threw it on the floor. I'm glad I got rubber mats. Had a bit of a play the other day.
Oh, nice.
What did that measure out to? I've forgotten what it measured to now. 6 3/8 tall, and it is.
Just to let you know, Pete's just come in. Pete from Twisted Trees.
Hey, Pete.
Morning, Pete.
So wait, turned. That is catalpa wood, native here in Kentucky. Turned, hollowed, painted, textured, and waxed over with a white embellishing wax. And then with that, we're going to include, and he fussed at me the other day, but I'm going to include a kit of axe, the abrasive paste, and the carnauba wax.
Oh,
said,
that's great.
He said the other day, he said, let me send you a kit. I said, Tom, you've got me overstocked. I've got plenty. Let me get rid of some of this. So he was glad that I was going to do that. But anyway, that's going to go to the winner.
Okay. Bert's Bulls has just come in.
All right. Bert's Bulls. Good to see you as well. Anyway, so those 3 pieces are going to go out to some fortunate person who gets drawn in the random picker. And I already told you last week I went to see my son as he competed and he won his competition. I'm going today, as soon as we get done, I'm going to go to see his last jazz concert of the year.
Oh, excellent.
And so, yeah. So not in the chat, but in the comments for the next couple of weeks. We'll do this week and next week and in the 2 weeks from today. We'll do the random picker to see who wins. But in the comments, somehow it doesn't matter. You do it by itself or you can incorporate it either way. The random generator will find it. But if you'll put jazz saxophone, in fact, make it a hashtag. Make it a hashtag jazz saxophone.
Hashtag jazz saxophone in the comments after this live is finished, because you'll not be able to make a comment while the live is on, but after the live is finished, go back into the video and in the comments, make a comment, hopefully a positive one, and include hashtag jazz saxophone. And during that, Scott's just come in. Scott Hampton's just come in.
Hey, Scott. Hey, Scott. We were just talking about your state.
Gerard wants to know if this is reserved only for people in the U.S. The draw.
I'm going to say no. We guys, I can do shipment anywhere.
No, I would double check that, Doug, seeing as how you're sending a wax product abroad.
There's no solvents in it.
Okay.
So, and I know that Tom has been shipping. The only place Tom doesn't ship.
It's okay for Tom to ship because that's part of his business.
Well, I was going to say the only place he does not ship is Canada, and the only reason he doesn't ship to Canada is because customs there, they like to play with stuff.
Yeah. And Splendid Green Jeans has joined us.
And so's Andy the Valleywood Turner.
Andy.
Lucy's not very better half.
Maybe he is the better half.
No.
No, Lucy's a sweet potato.
Angry's got to go back to work, and he'll catch the rest later.
I tell you what, just to be sure, here's what I'll do. We'll make this worldwide, and if somebody from outside of the States wins, I'll do something else other than the axe. How's that?
Yeah, that sounds fine. Haley said she's asking a question. Her internet has been a bit dodgy today, so is it just my image that's not very clear? Now I'm watching mine on I'm watching mine on StreamYard and it's very clear. I'll just pop across to
YouTube.
I've got it on YouTube now, and it is very clear on YouTube as well.
So it might be just yours, Haley.
Yeah, I understand from watching I watch an awful lot of YouTube and watching several other Turners doing lives, and I understand here recently YouTube has been having some issues depending on where you live. So it may well be that you need to check out and come back in.
I'm just going to mute because the hounds are wanting out and they're going to start barking.
Okay. I'm just wasting away some wood here. I got to get down to where my plate is.
Now, Dances with Aardvark says that over the winter he's been having a fire once a week in a giant birch root ball. It was full of ingrown, broken paving slab. Now it's manageable, and he's hoping to get a couple of nice tortured wood blanks.
Tortured wood blanks?
Oh, well, as in if they've been burnt steadily, they'd be tortured.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Just some burnt blanks.
That looks like it's cutting quite nicely.
It's not bad. It is very dry, so it's dusty. I'm not getting ribbons, but yeah, I mean the surface is not bad. Even though I'm hogging wood out um, about as fast as I can. I'll give it a little more speed. In fact, well, let's go ahead and work on this a little bit.
Yeah, that's cutting pretty clean and fast.
It is. It is. I've got it up at 1450 right now.
Yeah, the ebony I was turning earlier today and the Vera wood, it was just all dust coming off them.
Yeah, yeah.
In fact, I had to go and shower before the live, otherwise you'd have seen me with a black face and arms.
Mm.
And Lucy wants to know where in Kentucky you are, Doug.
I'm almost exactly halfway between Cincinnati, Ohio, and Lexington, Kentucky. It's considered northern Kentucky, um, but the northern Kentucky proper is the 3 counties to the north of me, between me and the river that separates Kentucky and Ohio.
I'm back.
So you
Well,
got the hounds
we're
taken care
glad.
of. All right, just about got all this waste wood gone. As dry as this wood is, yes, it is. Ruby pointed out a while ago, it's cutting very cleanly. Let me stop it and you can see. You know, there's a couple of bug trails, worm trails right there.
No, we
But
can't see them from that view. You'd have to use the tail camera.
you didn't remind me. There we go. Yeah, you can just see the worm trails right through there. There's a couple small ones here. That's cutting relatively clean for as hard as I was pushing. Boy, there's a pretty one right there. It looks like somebody drilled right in the edge. It's
Well,
so,
he
it's so clean.
probably did.
No, no. Well, the worm did, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what I meant.
Yeah, yeah. But I was gonna say just the having a sharp tool and I'm riding the bevel, not really pressing. I'm not really pressing the bevel in because then you get bruise marks and all kind of weird stuff going on. But letting the bevel be the steering wheel for me. I want to take a quick look at the edge here just to see what's going on. I've got a nice edge here, but here my edge disappears. So I've got to decide, do I want to take it down a little smaller in diameter or just let my edge disappear?
Or make a bevel there, a chamfer.
I could do that. Chamfer it toward the top. That's the only place it's bad. But I think that's what I want to do is chamfer that just a wee bit. Oh my, I've been helping Paul out on Mondays too much. Just a wee bit. Just a wee bit. For those of you who are not watching Paul Finley on Monday, everything's wee for him.
That's
A
his
wee bit of
favorite
this and a wee
expression.
bit of that.
Yeah, everything's we.
He's just a wee laddie.
Well, that's much better. Yeah, I mean it's a wee sanding, a wee taste of sanding sealer, a wee taste of wax. I laugh at him every once in a while. It's so much fun. We have a good time though on Mondays. Paul's a good turner.
That's what's really nice about this wood turning community is that there are so many people from so many different parts of the world.
Yes,
And,
yes.
and they all have different expressions. Like a common one that Wayne uses is whereas
Yep.
that's not a common expression in Canada or the US.
Yeah, typically somebody here says cheers. They're all about to guzzle down a drink.
Right.
That's probably where it comes from.
Yeah.
Well, up in the far north, the natives there used to say chimo instead.
Right. Probably an Indian term or a French term.
An Inuit term.
Okay. Yeah, Canada has about as rich Indian history as we do.
Well, an interesting fact that came up was when they put the railway lines across both your country and ours. They used a lot of coolies, Chinese laborers, to work on the rail lines.
Yep.
And the Chinese workers had absolutely no trouble talking to the Indians in their different dialects, because
Mm-hmm.
in fact, um, most of the Indian tribes uh, genetically all trace back to China. And back long before Christopher Columbus came over and quote unquote discovered America, the Chinese had sent a flotilla of ships to circumnavigate the world and mapped it. And when Marco Polo came back from his China trip, he brought with him some of these maps of the world. And some of the Vikings got a hold of the maps as well when they came across and settled like Eastern Canada. So,
Ronald Todd's just come in.
Hey, Ron.
That was a very interesting piece of information there, Ruby.
yeah, like they went and they tested the Mayan Indians, the native Indians in the US and in Canada, and the Eskimo or Inuit, and all of their genetics are all Chinese, basically.
Uh-huh.
Oh, right.
Like what happened was when this huge flotilla of explorers came across from China, some ships got broken up by storms and hurricanes and that, and they couldn't take all the extra people on board the other ships. So they set up settlements like in South America and North America. And so that's, as opposed to we were taught that they all came across the bridge in the Arctic.
Yeah, that natural land bridge that used to be there.
So, but they were here prior to that land bridge.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I
Because
came.
I thought a lot of people came across on the land bridge along with the horses.
And that's what we were taught. Whereas in fact, this predates all of that. And I was just fortunate enough, I happened to check a book out of the library that told all about that voyage.
Oh, there we go. Oh, hang on.
And Zed has joined us.
Yeah,
Hi,
that's what I
Zed.
was about to say. Zed's here.
Let the jokes begin. Hey Zed, this hasn't come off the lathe yet, buddy. Not once.
Well, technically it did.
Well, when I took it off intentionally, yeah. Yeah. All right. Slow it down to 505. Let's put a wee bit of sandpaper on.
Now Pete says the Vikings got to Canada after heading to Ireland after pillaging some Scottish distilleries.
Yeah, well, that's
And
why
they-
they headed that way. They pillaged the Scottish distilleries and then couldn't find the way home.
Right. And Zed is asking, you got one of those new magnetic chucks?
I might stick a lump of wood on the lathe tomorrow night and see how hard it is to get rid of it.
Now, for you, what would you consider a local wood?
Did that not come out right? Local wood to me is oak, ash, elm, rowan.
Yeah, see, we don't see very much of that over here at all. For us, it would mostly be, say, birch and maple, poplar, walnut, cherry.
Right. Now I was thinking that there's been a couple of people have had wood fly off the lathe recently, so I thought I might put a piece of wood on the lathe tomorrow night and see how difficult it is to actually have it fly.
Now, Mick says, don't forget you, Wayne. You know how much I like that one.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Call up Mike Walt. He'll tell you how to get it off of there.
Uh, there are only two
Right.
types of people, those who have lost a piece on the lathe and those who will lose a piece.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Oh, and Pete's giving you some advice, Wayne, on how to make sure it'll fly off. A
No,
1.5 millimeter tenon or a 1 millimeter mortise.
right. A 1 millimeter mortise. I have used a 1 millimeter mortise. And I saw Jimmy Clues. Quite a few years ago now. It must have been in the early 2000s. I saw Jimmy Clues at Harrogate. Using I think it was a 1 to 1.5 millimeter mortise, but it was the mortise was done at the proper size for the chuck to hold it, and he never lost it.
And Martin wants to know, Wayne, if you still have your tin hat from the army.
I
He
had
thinks you might need it.
I had to hand that back, I'm afraid. Malcolm is asking if we have rowan. Yes, it's also called mountain ash. Rowan is, and to tell you the truth, I have got a very nice rowan tree just outside my back door. Oh, Billy's in. Chris from Billy Woodworks is in. Evening, Chris.
And Zed is saying that apparently if the lathe is spinning under 1,000 RPM, then the piece will go down when it flies off. But if it's
It
above
usually does, yes.
But if it's above 1,000, it'll fly right at your face, which is why
Well,
you
no,
wear a face shield.
no, it won't fly right at your face if you're standing out of the line of fire.
Yeah, but if it comes off while you're sanding or something, you might
I'm,
unfortunately
I'm, I'm-
ruin that line.
I don't stand in front of the piece when I'm sanding.
Hmm.
But yeah, usually under 1,000 RPM, the piece will tend to drop down rather than fly sideways. It's the pieces that tend to have the hidden cracks in there that surprise everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, Jappy's in. Hiya,
Hi, Jack.
Jappy,
Yappy.
Yabby.
Good to see you.
Not seen you for a while.
Yes, it's been a while, hasn't it? Saw him on somebody's live the other day.
He
Oh,
was, yes.
little alcohol just to clean them out, clean out the pores. I'm always amazed. You know, you would think compressed air would take care of that, but it doesn't. There's always a little extra so I can get this edge here really good. And the alcohol dries quickly, so it's not like it sits there and takes you 30 minutes to wait on it to dry.
Now, Lucy's put in there, rowan trees always seem to be the last to get the leaves. Well, I don't know about that, Lucy. Mine has got leaves now. I would start expecting berries around about June, and then the birds will have them all cleared by probably end of July.
Going to use some abrasive paste on here.
Now, in our area, I wouldn't be able to sell that bull for food with those holes still in it.
Yeah, you said that
Um,
the other day. That's interesting.
I probably wouldn't be able to sell that bull because of the holes in it.
Yeah.
If it's a natural inclusion or void, people tend to go for that. But anything with wormholes just doesn't sell.
Well, over here, it's not legal to sell it because those little holes can harbor bacteria. So you have to fill them or basically get rid of them.
Right. And you know, that's easy enough to do. There was a study by one of the major universities here in the United States, and I wish I can remember which one it was.
That
That
was are you going back to the mid-90s now?
or before, yeah, where they
Okay,
studied it to see if
the
what the reaction to bacteria in wood was.
yes, that was oh God, I used to use this in
Was it
food hygiene
Minnesota?
training. No, it wasn't Minnesota, but I used to use this in food hygiene training when I used to train people.
Yeah,
Um, it was Wisconsin. It was
Wisconsin.
the
Okay.
yeah, it was the University of Wisconsin, and what
Yep.
they actually did, they got a load of different types of woods as chopping boards, and they got
Mm,
a load of the different plastic types of chopping boards.
right.
And what they actually found was the majority of the wooden chopping board. No, what they did, they put bacteria on all of them. And what they found was on the majority of the wooden chopping boards, the bacteria was dead the following day.
Yep.
And on all of the plastic ones, the bacteria had grown.
That's interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, now it was around about that time that the likes of mainstream butchers and people like that were actually getting rid of their butchers chopping blocks because people were saying it was unhealthy and promoted bacteria and everything like that. And then once this study had been done, people started going back to wood rather than plastic.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
And I can't remember the title of the piece, but I watched that, and it was the University of Wisconsin that did that,
Yeah.
and I'm sure it was the mid-90s, around that
Probably
time
was.
that it got done.
Yeah. It's we saw it here where they were changing like in your sandwich shops and all that, changing from wood boards to uh, all kinds of the high density plastics, as well as just other
Yes. Yeah.
laminates of different kinds. And most of them now have gone back to having wood cutting boards.
Oh yes, and a lot of the butchers over here have gone back to having the proper end grain butcher's blocks. Now Yappy
Yes,
is asking me what finish was used on those chopping boards. No finish, Yappy. It
right.
was put straight. The bacteria was put straight onto the wood.
If I remember right, Wayne, didn't they even take a knife and hack at them a little bit so that,
Yes, yeah,
yeah,
and
make it real
the
life?
bacteria, yeah, the bacteria still got killed.
Yep.
Hmm.
So don't be afraid, folks, of using your own stuff, especially. Now, you live in a place, whether it be Canada or anywhere else, where it's mandated by law. By all means, go by the law. But
Well, that's only for having the holes or cracks in the wood. If you're using it with food,
right,
as far as it being wood or just plain wood and using it, that's fine. In fact,
mm-hmm,
recommended.
mm-hmm, right, right. Yeah, you have to tell them don't use this for wood for food. One of my favorite words, and I have a hard time spitting it out sometimes.
And Martin Ford has just put in there. They replaced an old wooden chopping table in Durham Castle, and now the university lodgings, I think, must move to a metal table, and incidences of food poisoning increased.
Mm-hmm. Which logically that doesn't make sense. But
Yeah,
scientifically, when you know that wood has a natural antibiotic property to it,
Right,
it begins to make sense to you that wood is the way to go.
right.
Now, this little plate here, I showed you already, it's got some wormholes. I would not hesitate to eat off of it. Now, if you put soupy kind of foods on it, juicy foods, it's going to leak through. So that's the only issue, unless you take something and fill it.
yeah. Don't use a wormy bowl for soup.
No, it
Otherwise,
runs
you're
out a
going to
little.
be otherwise you're going to be scraping it off the table.
It runs out a little quick, doesn't it?
Haley is asking where Yappy is. He's in South Africa.
Yappy, are you making these days or?
He did say earlier on that life was getting in the way. That's why he hasn't been in many lives.
Yeah, yeah. Life has a habit of doing that. And if y'all remember, he had a lot of lathe troubles. In fact, his spindle was bent, had a major
Oh
bend
dear.
in it. Took him forever to get a replacement. And then, of course, tearing it down, putting the new spindle in, that just takes time. It's hard work on most lathes. Every once in a while, you see one that's flip up, take two bolts out and flip the top up and pull it out, put the new one in, done 30 minutes. This one, it would
Yeah,
take me the best part of a day.
yeah. The Pete said, when asked if my bulls are food safe, I usually answer, not if you eat them.
They'll leave splinters, won't they, Pete? All right, we got that.
They get stuck in your teeth.
Yes, they will.
Oh, definitely.
How's that grain? Is that all
Espe-
right?
That looks pretty, actually.
It does. Looks very nice.
This is a
Yeah,
carnauba-based
yeah.
wax.
If you start eating wood, it does get stuck in your teeth, especially the long grain stuff.
But it
Yeah,
fills you up and stays full for a long time.
Good
we
source
used to
of
talk
fiber.
yeah, we used to talk about eating oatmeal in the morning because it sticks with you. The wood, if you ate wood, it would stick with you.
Jappy says it took 3 years for him to get a new spindle, and there's a video on his channel where they replaced it. And 2 weeks ago, he did the pulleys, and now it works like a charm.
All right.
That's good news.
Got
You'll have
three
to carve out
years.
some time to use it now. Now that's funny. this hole that I told you about on the edge. That's it right there. It pops out over here. That worm was just traveling almost directly across the grain, which is a little unusual.
Hmm.
Not totally out of the question, just slightly unusual. All right.
Lucy, we've already told you where Yappy is. He's in Durban in South Africa.
Zed says that just creates a drain hole for you.
There you go.
Last week I had a strange experience. I was applying some super glue on the inside of something, and it leaked through to the outside, and it got on my finger, and it burnt it very severely.
Mm.
Oh, sorry, Lucy. Lucy is apologized, and sorry, she didn't apologize. Basically, she said she was obviously out of the room. Right, you have the temerity to actually leave the room while Doug is doing turning.
I know. I
Okay.
don't understand. I bet you're not
Yeah.
even letting your kids watch. They love to watch me turn.
It's listening to your accent, Doug.
That's it. That's
Now,
it.
Pete says that sawdust was used in the UK to pad out flour for making bread when rations were short. So it does no harm once the splinters are resolved.
I'll tell you what, Lucy. Sorry, I'll tell you what, Ruby. Pete is starting to sound as old as we are.
No, he's just a young'un. You and I know that. He wasn't anywhere near when the pyramids were built.
Well, that's true. That's true.
No, Pete drew up the CAD program for the pyramids.
Lucy has said, Doug, Gideon was watching until 8:30. Then it was his bedtime.
Okay. Well, Gideon's a good guy. He's one of my best pals. All right, here we are.
And Zed is right. They didn't use sawdust back then. They used papyrus.
Papyrus dust.
That's what we used to make our paper from for drawing on.
And there we have it. One plate in the books. I didn't tell you, I purchased a plate rack. It's an antique metal plate rack. Ah, there we go. That's better. It's circular with wire hoops that hold plates in it going around the diameter. That thing will hold 32. I've got 2 shows coming up, and I'd love to have 32 plates to fill that booger, the first show I've got coming up. So there's number 2. I did one yesterday to make sure to get my process down a little bit so that I could do this in roughly an hour. So there you have it. What did it come out to?
Very nice, Doug. Very nice.
That ended up 8 1/4 inches by 3/4 out of that big lump of wood. So, but it's got a nice grain in it.
Great for cookies or something.
Absolutely, or bread plate.
Or red big squares.
Brownies.
Yeah.
It could be used for a lot of things. But
yeah,
real pretty grain in it.
Lots of nice comments coming through here, Doug.
Very good. Thank you all. Thank you all so much. I appreciate you being here with us. I'm trying to get back where I can see what's going on.
Zed's
I've been
just
over on
said,
StreamYard.
Yep, Zed's just said frisbee. I did a frisbee one time and threw it across
It's almost that light.
Martin came back with collection plate.
It's a little shallow for that. I've done one of those. That's kind of an interesting turn.
Yeah, it's a little small as well. You need a 21-inch collection plate to get all the money in there.
Maybe where you go. The churches I go to tend to have more like 7, 8 people, 10 people. I've got 11 churches that I work with, and they're all small churches. So this would be big enough for a couple of them for sure. But anyway, it's a lot of fun. It's good to have everybody with us today. Let me bring these guys back in. Ruby, you just had a nice big demo. You got another one coming up, don't you?
Not well. There will be one coming up for Record Power, but I'm not sure when. We're
Okay.
still working the mechanics out.
All right.
What about
very
tomorrow
good.
night?
Oh yeah, tomorrow night I'm doing one for the Worldwide Wood Turners. So if you want to go, just Google Worldwide Wood Turners. Go to their site.
.org.
You then scroll down, and on the left side of the page, you can see where to join the meeting. I believe it's well, we usually click in about 6:30 Eastern time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's about 11:30 British time.
Yeah, that's usually when people come in, and the meeting starts probably around about midnight.
I'm glad you reminded me, Wayne.
Yeah. And then Wayne, you're going to be in tomorrow, right?
Yes, I will be on tomorrow night. Okay, I was having a bit of a laugh about trying to make something come off the lathe. I might get a piece of elm burr and turn that tomorrow night.
Nice.
Oh, elm is so nice.
I don't know why that reminded me, but I was going to go over here now that I got this off of here. Think. There's the chuck I was using. It's just a Nova chuck with whatever size those are, 4-inch, 3.5, 3 3/4 inch. Well, that's outside. That'd be called. What would that be called? Yeah, those are 3-inch jaws. So 75 mil. Okay. Just
now,
for
Ronald's got a question for you here, Doug.
okay.
In reference to last Wednesday after meeting chat, what would you do if you now wanted to put lacquer finish on that piece? Now, I know what I would do. What would you do?
What I would do, I would wait 3 or 4 days for that wax to completely cure, and then I'd spray it. Spray it from about 18 inches very lightly, especially the first couple of coats. And then after 2, maybe even 3 coats of very light coats, you can go ahead and spray it with whatever thickness you want. Or you could give this a good wash with alcohol and then go to it with your lacquer.
Methylated spirits
Either
or
way.
denatured alcohol, that will take all of the coatings off there, and then you can spray it with lacquer.
Absolutely. So, but even just waiting a couple of days, let that wax totally harden up. Then, like I say, from about 18 inches out, give it a misting of lacquer. Come back in 10, 15 minutes, do another misting. Then after that, you can give a regular coat and it'll work. So anyway, so Ruby's got something coming up in the future. He's got something tomorrow night. Wayne's got something coming up tomorrow afternoon, evening. I've got more of this like next week. Folks, it's been good to have you. I've got to go so I can hear a jazz concert. Don't forget to come back, after this, come back into the comments, place your comment, hashtag jazz saxophone. 2 words, jazz saxophone.
Hashtag jazz saxophone, so you can be entered into the giveaway.
And we're going to give, I'll show that again.
Yep, show that again.
Nice little 3 lines of decoration with some natural at the top, and that is waxed down about as far as my finger will go down inside. Other than that, but my wife said, "What's that for?" I said, "It's just a little vase, dry flowers or what have you." So it can be used for all sorts of things. I guess if you really wanted to, you could put some iced tea in there and tip her up. We were talking about Vikings earlier, weren't we? Vikings would use anything they get hold of.
Oh,
all right,
definitely.
guys. Yeah, it's been a good week. With that, I'm going to say goodbye. Say bye, guys.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
Bye.